Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Well, I have been better.
Oh, I wondered when I got this morning's mindset quote, I wondered if there might be something behind that. Um,
Yeah.
Before we jump into that, I promised the Book Nook advocates that we would do a book selection this morning. So before we jump
Okay.
into Mindset Monday, are you okay? Like this will just take a second. I want
Okay.
to do a wheel spin and give everybody the title of a book for the third quarter book club. So if you don't mind, before we jump in, let's go ahead and add the wheel. All right, so here's the wheel. We have 8 books that we're considering for the third quarter. Let me jump over here, do a really quick spin of the wheel and see
that
what
poor
book we're going to
penguin.
be reading. Yeah. All right. Okay, so it is What to Say When You Talk to Yourself by Chad Helmstetter, PhD. So I'm not familiar with this book, but I will drop it in the book nook so that everybody knows for the third quarter, we're going to read What to Say When You Talk to Yourself by Chad Helmstetter. Now let's get back to Mindset Monday. How about that?
Important question. Is it available as an audiobook?
You know, I always check that and put the links inside of the book nook.
Okay.
So I will do a quick check and I put all the links to the ebook, the audiobook, and then of course the hard copy. So if it's available, I will put the link in there as well because I want to make sure that everybody has it available. So for those of you in the book nook, that's what we're reading for third quarter. That book club meeting will be in September, and I think it's the 26th. It's posted over there in the book nook. So I apologize. Just wanted to get that out of the way since I had promised those members I would do the wheel spin this morning.
So back
All
to
right.
previously scheduled programming.
That's right. Exactly. And like I said, I was really concerned about you when I got the Mindset Monday quote, Kayla. So why don't you go ahead and kick us off? Let's see what we can talk about this morning.
Yeah. So Mandy Hill says, life can change so fast, so unexpectedly. Love when you can, while you can, as much as you can. And as Nicole mentioned, this is another quote like many, inspired by my life. My father-in-law passed last night or yesterday, the night, unexpectedly.
Oh my gosh.
Like was totally fine till he had a massive heart attack and he wasn't. So, and he was 62, so not old.
No, not at all.
Nothing was planned, no life insurance. Has 9 kids, but all of them were just like, everybody's shocked because like he was fine. He actually just had a hip replacement. So everybody was under the impression his health must be good because they took him to surgery, but I don't think they did a stress test though, or they would have seen that his heart was not as good as it should be. So anyways, to say it caught everybody off guard is a massive understatement.
Wow, I am so sorry, Kayla.
You know, certainly I've met healthier people before, but he, gave no impression or indication that, something so sinister was brewing inside.
Wow.
So I ended up, because I'm a little bit more removed from the situation than my husband and all of his siblings. I stepped up and I spent the day yesterday with his wife helping her navigate through, because he was an organ donor. So they're like asking all questions about tissue donations and stuff. And like it's a lot to process and try to understand. So it's like walking her through that process. And then we had to start making decisions about, funeral homes and all of that. And, nothing was planned. There was no life insurance. So then it's also trying to find the money because who has money for a funeral just laying around? So I also created my first GoFundMe. It was
wow. I'm so sorry. Condolences to you and your family, your husband especially. And back to the quote. Like really reminder, right? To,
Yeah.
yeah.
My husband and I were sitting together last night, you know, looking for the silver lining and, you know, trying to sit with our gratitudes. And he was telling me that like the last like good interaction he had with him was 4th of July. We went over and he was they were in the pool, and Theo did a good job like learning to swim last year, but apparently forgot. And this was his first time in the pool this summer, and he was like so scared at first. I had to actually like help him even get in the pool because he just wasn't about it. But then like, you know, with some time, he was like, Nick said he just has this memory like burned in his mind, thankfully, of like Theo swimming with the pool noodle towards his poppy, just like grinning, and, you know, his dad just lighting up and being there for him. And that was the last time we got to hang out with him. So that was great that we had that. And there had been some turmoil in the family, and it had mostly been resolved for like the past 6 months, and everybody was like in a really good place. So we're so grateful that this occurred at that point and not, you know, 6 months ago.
Right.
But it's just a stark reminder to everybody. I mean, you know, we all know that, you know, death is coming for us and we don't know when, but goddamn, sometimes it really just comes out of nowhere.
Isn't it the truth?
Oh, really, so hug your babies and tell your people you love them and remember every day. It is a gift.
That really is
my stark reminder, and I felt impress that upon everybody.
I love it. You know, it's so true. It's so easy to get caught up in the day-to-day. And, you know, I think about this when I got the quote, my immediate thought went to my husband because, you know, he's traveling, he's on the road a lot. And, you know, when he is home, I'm guilty of this sometimes, right? Of allowing the little things of the day-to-day to get in the way of my gratitude for our marriage and our relationship. And it's really interesting because in my planner, I have every morning when I sit down to plan my day and, you know, recap and look at that, there is a place there for me to list my gratitudes. And this morning I listed my gratitude actually was that I didn't let the little things interrupt our weekend this weekend while he was home. We had a great weekend. You know, there were no heavy conversations. There were no negotiations. There were no, like, it was literally just hang out and enjoy each other in the moment. You know, we went for walks and we did some things, and you know, as in life, there's always hard conversations and deep things that need to be discussed. But I was able to let that go and not do that this weekend and allow us to just have a nice weekend. And so in my gratitude this morning, as I was reviewing this quote this morning, preparing to get on here, I was like, you know, that is a gratitude that I have this morning because he's gone. He's back out on the road this morning. And I'm grateful that we had just a fun, lighthearted weekend. And that's not always the case. So,
yeah,
you know, I was grateful for that. And I think this is in every aspect of our life, right? It's easy to get caught up in the
running to-do list.
Yeah, right.
The rat race.
Yeah, the logistics of life, right? And it goes back to, you know, I talk a lot about the book, If Disney Ran Your Hospital, which I'm hoping pops up on the wheel one quarter. But anyway, because it really goes back to what Walt Disney said about life being about the experiences and not about, you know, the logistics or the things. And if you've ever been to Disneyland or Disney World or one of those things, you know what I'm talking about. Like every piece of that experience is an experience. And, you know, they go out of their way to make it about the experience. And I think as advocates, that's something that we can bring patients that isn't typically injected into their healthcare experience. I need another word this morning. Because life can change so fast and so unexpectedly. And we don't know what's right around the corner. And it seems a little cliche, but I'll tell you, what I have learned about cliches over the last decade is that they are absolute truths that sometimes I want to deny.
Yeah, there's a reason that they get so recycled.
Right? So true, so true. So I think, you know, maybe some of our call to action this week is, you know, how to be in the moment and to readjust and make sure we stay in the moment. Because it takes effort and awareness and intention, which are all things that we talk about a lot here. Intentionality and focus and self-awareness and the other thing that I kind of wanted to chat a little bit about here on this one, Kayla, is the word love. And I think that, because I think sometimes we don't, or I don't, stop and realize that love is all encompassing. Like there's not a singular definition. You know, it doesn't only pertain to family. It doesn't only pertain to my loved ones. It really can.
Yeah, in English, we utilize the word love, and in other languages, I want to say it's the Romantics, like Spanish, French, and Italian, but I might be wrong. They have 6 words for what we use just love for, because there's like the love for your intimate partner versus the love for your family versus the love for your friend versus the love for your dog versus the love for pizza. And maybe it's 5. I thought it was 6. Or maybe I'm just forgetting one. But those are all different facets of love. They all mean different things.
Yes.
But we can still have gratitude for all of them. So it's not a bad thing. But don't forget about the other loves.
Yes. And that's kind of what I was thinking about is that, hey, Julia, I'm glad you were able to jump on. So I was thinking about that as it pertains to, you know, I can have love and I do, and, you know, without it sounding a little bit corny or whatever, but I do have love for my clients, right? There is an aspect of love that applies to that. There's an aspect of love that applies to the world. And when I think about life changing so unexpectedly, and when I think about the part of this quote, love when you can, while you can, as much as you can, it means to every aspect of love. You know, love the world, love my clients, love all of the people around me, and extend that gratitude and that peace to everyone. And, you know, this is not, especially in the climate that we're in this world today, it is so important to really embrace that and extend it.
Like the Black Eyed Peas said, where is the love? The world needs more love.
Right. Yes, exactly. I love that. And it is true. And, you know, it's interesting because I go back to this. I think what you said is so true. And I would love to do a little bit more research on the language around the word love, because I think that that's really important, not to get hung up on a particular aspect of love. You know, like random acts of kindness, little things that, you know, we can do to express our love for the population as a whole, are always fun. And just kind of indicative to remind us of this love when we can, while we can, as much as we can. Holding a door open for someone, or a pay it forward at Starbucks, or any of those things to express that gratitude to others. So I would love to hear where just as a recap.
I think my connection maybe isn't great. Are you having trouble hearing me?
Your video's low quality, but we can hear you just fine, I think. Drop in the chat.
Yours is like sputtering on my end, so.
Okay. So let us know in the chat if you're having issues with the video. First foremost, let us know. We've got some viewers. Oh, I don't know. Okay. All right.
Okay. So going back though, I love some actionable items.
Mm-hmm.
So you were talking about how it made you kind of think about more your relationship with your husband, and then this sparked this thought that I had. If you're not familiar with John Gottman and the Gottman Institute, you should absolutely familiarize yourself with them. 10 out of 10, highly recommend for everybody. He is a relationship psychologist. Roughly, that might not be the exact title he uses, but anyways, him and his wife, Julia, I think that also might not be right. You see, I was very prepared for this today.
Yeah, that's okay.
But they work together and run the Gottman Institute, but they've been focusing on like the science and psychology of relationships for decades now. And I mean, the nuggets of wisdom that they have is just phenomenal. And they have paid programs, but what they give away for free is just out of this world. But one of the things that he talks about with increasing intimacy with your partner, so this won't work for your father-in-law, but he calls it the 6-second kiss. And the idea is that, when somebody is coming home or leaving, those are 2 important pieces, like connection points. For the obvious, like, they're going out on the road and you don't know what could happen, but also just that ritual of like greeting somebody and, stopping your day for them. They're very big on the philosophy that like life is made up of the little things. And so when we are trying to improve our relationships, it's not with big grand gestures, it's with all of the little things. So what a lot of us can fall into is getting kind of robotic and routine with, okay, bye, love you. And then like, what does it even mean anymore? And so one of his answers to this is the 6-second kiss. And you literally stop and embrace and kiss your partner for 6 seconds. 6 seconds is not a lot of time out of your day. So this is not some massively disrupting thing to do. But when's the last time you actually stopped and kissed your partner for 6 seconds?
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
That's a very intentional thing. And he's got a whole list of like reasons that this works and the kind of effects it can have. It builds a ritual of connection. It can be a bid for connection, which is another one of his phrases. It boosts fondness and admiration. It builds appreciation. It adds to your emotional bank account, which is another philosophy I absolutely love. It boosts your positives for the 5-to-1 ratio. And it can reduce cortisol, which is the stress hormone, and boost oxytocin, the love hormone. Mm-hmm. And the more you practice the elongated kiss, it can also become a habit. And let's see, he says it's one of the least time-consuming ways to improve things with your partner. In fact, if you have 2 kisses per day, the total time per week amounts to less than 90 seconds.
Wow, isn't that fun? So right. It's literally just, yeah.
The heavy lift is simply the intention, not the time.
Correct. right? What a great thing. I just dropped a link to the Gottman Institute
Oh,
into
perfect.
the chat, just in case anyone wanted to follow up with that. I think that that's a great, I love the Gottmans. I love their research. I love the work that they've done, and for so many reasons. And I think that it is spot on. And it does take a little, like with everything, right, that we talk about, intention and awareness, right? Just being aware and some intention can make a world of difference in our experiences, our relationships, our business, our basically everything. Like literally everything, which is why so many times here on Mindset Monday, the conversation encapsulates so much of our work, because when we focus on where our mindset is and how we're feeling and experiencing the world and how we're showing up in the world, it changes the world around us. And that's really the hope for this Mindset Monday, is to start off the week in a place that's really good so that we can show up as our best selves. We can be aware of our actions and really kind of kick things off in a positive way, even when circumstances aren't so positive. And I think that's really important. Even when circumstances are not, we can still show up in that positive mindset. So
yeah. Another one, I don't know that it's from the Gottmans, but another one that I heard is like with your loved ones, particularly with children, when you hug them, let the other person break away first.
Ooh, I like that.
So that again increases that attention, intention, or probably more than 6 seconds, but
Right. But it also allows that other person to get what they need.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. So those are some of my action items for the week. If you have an intimate partner, I challenge you to start practicing the 6-second kiss on the aways and returns. When you're with your loved ones, your friends, your family, I don't know how far you extend hugs. I hug everybody but a stranger, basically. And once we've had a conversation, you're not a stranger anymore.
Depending on how that interaction goes, I might hug them too.
Yeah.
So,
but hug until the other person pulls away. Another one I'd love to challenge you for is, a lot of times, and I know I've been guilty of this, but you'll go to talk to somebody and you haven't talked to in a while, and you'll be like, oh yeah, I was thinking about you and wondering how you're doing. Well, don't just think about people, guys. Text them. Like, you don't even have to put, all of our phones have talk to text now. Just press the button and, hey, I was just thinking of you, and then send it. And if it's at an untimely time of day, you can also schedule that send, and then you wake up to it. But don't let that be a fleeting thought. Just take the 10 seconds, catch that fleeting thought, and send the text. It could make their day. I mean, I know there's been times, I get a text out of the blue from somebody I haven't talked. I'm like, wow, somebody cares,
Yes. I'm going to take that one a step further, Kayla. My grandmother always, and this, of course, she didn't do text. It was write a letter or make a phone call at her time. However, this was something that she committed to regularly and passed on to me was, how many times, like sometimes you'll inadvertently refer to someone by the wrong name.
Mm-hmm.
And you correct it. However, her instruction to me was, when that happens and like the person, for example, I was in conversation with somebody and I referred to a woman and I called her Heidi. Heidi's my bonus daughter. And so when I referred to this other woman in conversation and I called her Heidi, and it wasn't Heidi, it was, her actual name was Holly. But anyway, I called her Heidi. I immediately stopped and I texted my bonus daughter. And I literally said, and so my grandmother says, when you refer to somebody by the wrong name, but you know somebody with the name that you just inserted incorrectly, reach out to them immediately.
Oh, I like that.
I know, right? And it was, yeah, it was kind of a neat thing. And it's the same idea of what you were just saying. When you do think of somebody, do something right away about that, because you never know what's happening on the other side. And who doesn't want to hear that they're special to someone? Who doesn't want to know that they're being thought of in the moment? I mean, I've even done this before too, and said, hey, just wanted to let you know I'm thinking of you. And it is a very powerful thing. So I concur and encourage you to do that as well. And maybe that just made it, yeah.
I also, you mentioned, your grandmother didn't text, she sends letters. I love sending people things in the mail because we have gotten to such a digital age. And like, I don't know about you, my mailbox is full of junk and bills. Like, it's never good unless I bought something on Amazon, and it usually don't fit in the mailbox.
Right.
So, to get something like from a real person who loves you in the mail, that's just a special experience in itself. And like, guys, you don't have to overthink this. Like, number one, if you have kids, the heavy lifting is done for you, because you know that they're always coloring something and making something, and you don't know where to put it all anyways. Stick it in the envelope and send it to grandma. That's what I do all the time.
Oh, I bet grandma loves that. Right? And
it costs me a stamp. And
exactly.
1 minute. I even have a return address stamp. I just stamp the envelope and, write out the address. And for anybody who doesn't know, this is really off topic, but you can go to pirateship.com and you can do your own prepaid shipping labels from home. You just have to have a scale and a printer, and you can drop it off right at the post office, or you can, if it's small enough, you can put it in your mailbox and they'll pick it up. But it's typically like 40% off the price of retail, and like a whole lot cheaper. So sometimes I'll see like little pirateship.com.
Pirateship.com. Go do that. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, and it says like ahoy, matey. Yeah, I send like Christmas cookies and fudge and brittle and stuff to everybody for Christmas instead of like traditional consumerism. And that's how I sent it all. And I mean, I shipped a 4-pound box of cookies and candies and stuff from Maryland to California for $19.
Wow. Okay, that's amazing. That is amazing. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Well, good deal. Okay, so Kayla, if you would just recap our quote and then give our call to action a couple times, we'll go ahead and close this out and let everybody get their week started. So
please, life can change fast, so unexpectedly. Love when you can, while you can, as much as you can. And so we talked about the 6-second kiss with your intimate partner, saying, when somebody pops into your head or you say the wrong name, reach out to them, send stuff in the mail because it's fun. Hug until the other person pulls away. I don't think we had a 5th.
I don't think so either. I think that's it.
And the 5th thing could be, what do you want to add to that list?
Ooh, I like that. Right. What did you add to the list this week? Perfect. I love it. Well, Kayla, our sincere condolences to you and your family. Hard stuff always. But you know what? Thank you so much for sharing that experience with us and reminding us how we can be a little bit more mindful this week and show up a little bit better for those in our lives. And can't wait to hear how everybody takes action this week to love when they can, while you can, as much as you can, and how are you demonstrating that to those you care about? So without further ado, we will be back next Monday, same time, same place. Hope to see you here. Have a great week, guys.